So this is how to insert an invisible zip using a half foot. So this is your half foot here, because I'm guessing most of you don't have access to an invisible zipper foot at home. So this will show you how to do it using a half foot. Okay, so I have, sorry, I'll try not keep knocking off that. I have my darts sewn up. I have my centre back seam stitched as far as my notch for my zip. I've got my dress facing right side up, but I've got my zip facing, that's the right side of my zip, but I'm going to turn that over and face it. So basically I'm facing it right sides together, so right side of the zip with the right side of the dress. Now you have to make sure that the line of where you're going to sew is using up your full amount of seam allowance. So you need that to be your full 1.5 seam allowance. So I'm just going to pop a little pin in there like that. And next you actually open the zip the whole way down. Okay. And then pin your zip in place the whole way down. And you will want your zip to be longer than your seam here. Okay, so that's the zip pinned in place. Now, when you're using a half zip, it's very important that you curl the teeth out as much as possible, and that ensures that you get in nice and tight and that the zip really is invisible. Okay, so you see what I'm doing there? I'm curling the teeth back. So I'm putting the foot over as close to the teeth as I can. Start off with your little back tack. And now, as you can see, the line of where I'm stitching is bang on my 1.5 seam allowance. So as I stitch down, I curl the teeth back. So it's important just to take your time and do it bit by bit. And when you get to this point down here, you actually fold the dress like that and then fold that down that way, then you can really see where you're aiming for. And what I mean by that is you want your last stitch when you're sewing your zip to line up exactly with the point of where you sewed your seam here. So pop the zip down and allow for the fact that you're going to curl that out. And you're going to aim directly for that point. And back tack. And now you can lift it out and trim your threads. Always trim as you go. And now when we zip that up, on this half here, you basically can't see anything. And at this section here, the two things are lining up perfectly. So that's one half of your zip stitched in. And now we're going to do the other half. So what I always do to make sure I'm lining it up properly is figure out where my seam allowance is first off. Here I am. So this is the inside of the dress here. Okay, I'll just open that out so you can see better. Alright, so that's the inside of the dress that we're looking at the moment. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to notch my actual zip at that point, and the same with the fabric, so that when I'm sewing down, I know I'm going to line up my zip perfectly, and it'll help stop it bubbling on me. Okay, and then you can start to pin that, and make sure just to allow for the fact that you're going to have to open the zip, so don't pin too close to the teeth of the zip. Okay, so as you can see, I'm leaving a little gap here because I know I'm going to want to sew the 1.5 and pin that the whole way up. I always think as well it's best to sew your zip in the same direction on both sides, i.e. sew from the top down on both sides, because it makes sure that your fabric behaves in the same way. So in other words, if it's going to stretch or do something funny, then at least it's going to do the same on both sides in the same way. Alright, I might have some of those a little bit close. Okay, so just make sure they're not too close because you want to be able to open the zip. Alright, so at this stage, we actually turn that out the right side. You can kind of start to see what it's going to look like. So this is the side we've already stitched, and this is the side we've pinned. So I'm going to open the zip. You open it the whole way down, and then it'll actually come through out to the other side here. Okay. Now, obviously this means we have to change our foot to the other half of the foot. So just to show you how to change the foot on your machine again. And now we're ready to sew in the other half of our zip. So again, making sure that we use up our full 1.5. Now obviously we've no guide on this side, so you might want to take your measuring tape and just check. Okay, so there's my 1.5. allowing for the fact that I'm going to be curling that out. Okay, that means I will be taking up my full 1.5 seam allowance. Alright, make sure everything's nice and flat, and start off with a little back tack, and again ensuring to curl your zip out nice and flat, and take your pins out as you go. I also find it's much easier to sew your zip in before you sew your side seams, if possible. Now, it's not always possible to do that. It depends on how you're making up your garment, and so you have to think of the complete garment. But where possible, it's much easier to put the zip in when the back of your dress can be opened out flat really easily, or skirt, or whatever it is you're doing. Now, this is the bit here again that we need to be really fussy about. So, the reason why I notched was so that I can make sure that I haven't moved my fabric too much or lost the balance of my zip and my fabric. And again, I want to make sure that my line of stitching ends up perfectly in line with this. So again, line up your zip and allow for the fact that you're going to curl it out, and then get as close to that point as you can. Now, an invisible zipper foot actually has a much flatter top on it, and it means that you can get in really, really close. But by using the half zip, you do just have to manipulate it a little bit more. And cutting your threads. And this is where we turn the zip through. So there's your zipper foot, or your puller. You push that through there. Come through onto the right side, holding your zip here and holding your puller here. You can close your zip. And there you have it. And as you can see, even using the half foot, we've managed to get in nice and tight. And there's pretty flat there. Teensy tiny bubble if I was being really fussy, but considering it's a linen fabric, that's going to press out fine. So there you have it. There, one invisible zip inserted using a half foot.